Hello there, Joao. So we've got a first set of essays from you. Great job. Let's take a look and see what you wrote. Schools, more entertaining or just educational? Let's see what you said. Okay. The world is changing constantly. Technology came to help everyone to communicate, interact, and evolve, not evolute. That's not a word. The word is evolve. Together with a bunch of information, new technologies are available on the education system to create an entertainment environment on schools. All right. So far we have a word error here, and then I don't really care for this, a bunch of information. It sounds really informal. So we want to raise the level of the language, make it sound more academic. Okay? And then the problem, we don't really call it an entertainment environment on schools. It's also incorrect vocabulary. So instead, we need to say something like, new technologies are available in the education system to create an environment that is both entertaining and educational in schools. Now, that's the second sentence here, but what you need to do and what you have left out is you've left out your thesis statement, which is essentially answering this. You also didn't mention that there is something of a debate regarding this issue. So you've left out this element here, that some people think schools should be only educational. Some people think that lessons must have an entertaining component to them as well. You've left that out of the equation. And then, of course, you've left out your position on all of this. So we need to know here in your introduction, since it asks which do you agree with, you really do need to state that quite clearly in your introduction. Following tech discoveries and creations for the learning sector, new techs. All right, let's write the word out, shall we? Again, it's an academic essay. It's not a casual email to a friend or colleague. So we'll write the full word out. Following technological discoveries and creations for the learning sector, new technologies such as interactive software, no apostrophe, no S, e-books and tablets are available to revolutionize the industry. Due to the old-fashioned systems, actual doesn't belong here, students are losing interest in studies. Yes. For example, a study from UCLA monitored an interaction project, interactive, I think you mean, where they brought into the high school a system which integrates students from the same grade with the same subjects, bringing interactivity and entertainment to classes. The results showed that students who learned with an interactive method had a better performance and were more motivated than in the traditional method. Okay, so let me ask you a question. All right, you said entertainment here. Let's see. Okay, here's my concern with this paragraph. You talk about technology, you talk about software, and you talk about bringing interactive lessons into the classroom. And that's all fine, but you only mention entertainment in one little area. So my point is that just because a lesson is interactive and incorporates technology, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's entertaining. Okay, I hope that makes sense, that these are not synonymous. Interactive does not necessarily mean that it entertains as well. Okay, because if a subject is difficult or if it's boring, just because the lesson is now interactive, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is entertaining, right? So I want you to be careful with this logic here. And it's a little off topic. I mean, if you hadn't even written this word at all, it would be totally off topic. But it's pretty off topic because you just talked about technology available and interactive lessons and projects and so forth. So I didn't get the sense that any of these things kind of draw the student in and are more entertaining. That was what was missing for me. Okay, let's move on. On the other hand, never in the other hand. On the other hand, conservatives argue that bringing a new system with possibilities to students, no. Let's see. On the other hand, conservatives argue that bringing a new system with possibilities for students to access the internet and chats during class can disturb, you either say the learning process or can disturb learning. They also complement. No, they don't. They don't complement. They comment, perhaps, that the actual model is comes from no. We have to change a lot of this. So they also comment that the used model or the current model comes from previous generations, and we should preserve it as it is a guarantee of learning and discipline. This makes a little more sense to me, okay? Okay. A study from Harvard proved that children that have access to internet in classes had, why don't you put a better sort of linker here and say, a case in point is a study for, or to illustrate this, that would be good, to illustrate this, and you know what? No, actually, it doesn't even belong here. It belongs up here. So can disturb learning. In fact, a study from Harvard proved that children that have access to the internet in class had their performance decrease, or had a decrease in performance by 20%. Okay, that would make sense. And also you could say proponents argue that the current model comes from generations comes from years of practice and is a proven model of success. Therefore, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but you do need to kind of create a conclusive statement here, kind of linking everything back to your first statement. Okay, so to conclude, it is inevitable that technology will be in all schools in the short term. Full stop. The way we communicate has changed, the way we work has changed, and have improved due to technology. With a good monitoring system, the innovation, not the innovation, innovation is a part of a process of evolution. There is no better place to be more entertained than schools. Okay, again, you just threw in the word entertained here, but you didn't really develop the idea of entertainment. Everything is about technology in the classroom, and I feel like this is really limiting. Entertainment can be other ways as well. You can learn through games. You can learn through role play. You can learn through movies, or, you know, lots of different activities that are both educational and fun as well. Okay, so I really have to disagree with all of this focus on technology. If you had said something about online games or computer games that help solidify the knowledge that children have gained in class, then yeah, I would agree with you. But really, all of this about interactive lessons and the internet doesn't speak to me about entertainment, all right? It's just providing a technological element to the lessons. Okay, so there's also a lot of grammar errors and some word errors in this essay, so there's a lot that you have to correct here in order to make the essay more appropriate. And I mean, there are just some improvements you have to make. I was pretty clear about all of them. We've spent a lot of time on this essay, and we still have one more to go, so let's take a look at this straight away. Okay, this one is about children doing an enjoyable activity and how it can develop better skills and more creativity than reading can. So let's see what you said. There is no doubt that reading is an essential activity to develop children's '(s) learning skills and vocabulary. However, some psychologists defend that there are more effective ways to increase creativity and skills to children. We never write kids in an IELTS essay. It's always children. Kids is just too informal. Fine. Okay, up to here so far. But again, you have neglected to add this element, to what extent do you agree? You haven't told me your position on this, and that's vital to the essay. You just kind of left it incomplete, essentially. So I absolutely need this kind of information here. Okay, so let's move on. Nowadays, many improvements were made when we talk about children's '(s) education. New methods, techniques. There's something missing here for sure. There's a link error missing here. So nowadays, many improvements have been made when we talk about children's education. Full stop. New methods and techniques are available to escape from the traditional system and deliver more pleasure to the education. A study from Cambridge University investigated and compared two methods in a group of children during a year where the first group learned through a traditional book method while the second group had video game classes and theater classes incorporated. The results showed, ED, that bringing enjoyable activities in a child's routine increased their active skills, boosted, ED, creativity and interactivity, and sense of teamwork. At the end of the year, the first group had a performance 30% better than the second group. Okay, what's the takeaway here? What do we learn? What can we surmise? What can we conclude from this? You're trying to say that video games and theater or entertaining activities are more effective in developing skills than reading. That's what you need to end off your paragraph with. Okay. Moving on. Furthermore, introducing enjoyable activities to the group brought new interests to the children. The sports sector from the school had double the enrollment. All right, this is you're fabricating way too much here, okay? You don't have to create a kind of fantasy scenario here completely, but talk to me about arguments, talk to me about your ideas, and that would be better. So, I mean, okay, fine, use an example like this, but don't make it like the crux of your entire essay, or certainly at least this paragraph, okay? All right, moving on. Let's see. Introducing enjoyable activities to a group brings new interests to children. Then you could say here, for example, no, I don't like this sentence. The researchers believe that due to the new ambience, I think you mean CE, and the way that children were involved with each other, they developed a sense of competition which they could found the physical activities as an ally to spend their energy and develop coordination and cognitive skills. Okay, not really. Again, I mean, you took this and you just made an entire paragraph just focused around this. That's not really what you need to do. You essentially need to structure a new paragraph, very much like this one. If you want to talk about sports and how they help develop skills, then great. But I'm going to tell you something else that you need to do. Here you talked about active skills, boosted creativity. Okay, fine, you talked about creativity. Fine. Because most people forget to mention creativity and they just worry about other skills. I want you to rewrite this paragraph using the template rather than just continuing with this example from the Cambridge University research. Okay, start it all over again. So, okay, let's move on. To conclude, I strongly believe that escaping from traditional methods and introducing pleasurable activities into a child's '(s) routine brings satisfactory results in the short term and magnificent results in the long term. Full stop. Children must have their creativity stimulated, interaction with colleagues, and a harmonious environment to extract their best. Okay, that last sentence was good, but there was a lot of error elsewhere. So I want you to correct all of these errors. I think I pointed them out to you enough for you to know what they are. So go ahead and do that. That's the next step you need to do. You have to correct these essays based on this correction. You then have to send that back to us. You also have to create an error correction list where you write down all the mistakes that were pointed out to you, and then next to each error, write what the corrected version is. Then, of course, you also have to write a new set of essays. So go ahead and send us those 3 things. Wishing you lots of luck. I hope that you found this video correction helpful and that it will give you lots of feedback in order to improve your next set of essays. Okay? Good luck, and I'll be waiting to see what you write next.